to videotaping the show. I am.
Welcome back to Music Monday and a brand new episode of Supporting Artists. In this series, I strive to do just that. I want to introduce you guys to some entertainers that I find to be very talented and deserving of more attention, hopefully share their story, and have you guys keep up to date with them just as much as I am. In the last episode, I showed you guys Jody Sylvie's EP. You can check out that episode up here. And today, rather than do a reaction-based video, I'm actually going to be interviewing a very talented Portuguese entertainer. She's a singer, she's an actress, she's a playwright, she's a songwriter, and much, much more, but I'm sure she can tell you about this much better than I can. So, introducing Mia Ventura Lucas.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Hey Mia, I'm so happy to be making this video with you. So the first question I want to ask is, what made you want to become an entertainer?
Well, I think I was always that sort of kid that loved to recite poems or do a play at Christmas. You know, the annoying type? So I think my entertainer background was always kind of there, but when I turned 12, I started watching a lot of movies, and I remember seeing these actors and thinking, wow, they're really good. I wonder how they do it. And they made me live through these realities, these circumstances that I never thought I could relate to. So I think that's where it sprung out of, like, that need to tell stories and help people understand circumstances that they couldn't have otherwise.
That is fantastic, and I can't wait to see more of the stories that you have to tell. But speaking of storytelling, what are your 5 dream roles that you would love to play?
That's a hard one. I'd probably say biopic of Stevie Nicks. That would be my top one. I love her. I love her music, and sometimes people say we sound alike, so I'd love to play her. Then since we're on the subject of biopics, I would love to play Amália Rodrigues, who is Portugal's most famous fado singer. So it'd be an honor to represent someone from my country. In terms of classics, I'd probably say Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice and Jo March from Little Women. And one more, I'd love to do a war film about World War II, about all the women that fought. I think sometimes that they aren't as well represented as they should have been, so I'd love to play them.
I would love to see you in any of those roles, especially the biopic of Stevie Nicks. Oh my goodness, I can already picture that. I really, really would love to see that. But speaking of storytelling, you actually wrote a play called The Blue Hour, and I'd love to hear more about that.
The Blue Hour was based on real events that unfortunately both Manon and I lived through in 2018. It explores this youthful, awkward grief and the themes of suicide. And I think suicide in general is still taboo in our society. And we wanted people to feel comfortable talking about their experiences and their grievances. And I think sometimes the 20s, early 20s are a very difficult moment of transition because you're no longer a teenager and you're still not an adult. And I think sometimes it's during this transition period that a lot of your innocence is broken, and a lot of the times is through death. And I think these traumatic experiences, they're just gonna happen. Some of your friends that you thought were gonna grow up to be great people, unfortunately don't make it. And I think it's very hard for young people to deal with these matters. And we wanted this play to sort of not normalize, but to at least open the topic of discussion.
First of all, thank you so much for writing this story. It is so important to so many people, and I would love to see it staged. So if you could help me paint a mental picture, what are the characters like? Is there any gender that you have specifically for them, their names?
In terms of characters, we have 3 women and 2 males. The women one is called Louise, based on my late grandmother's name, Louisa. Then there's June and there's Reed. Reed has this name because she's meant to sort of be this feminine presence with some masculine qualities, so we wanted to give her a gender-neutral name. Then there's Steve and Oliver. Oliver is a special character. but I won't get into details so I don't spoil it.
Any updates on casting for the Blue Hour?
In terms of casting, we have finalized casting, and we're currently in reading, so stay tuned.
I know you already touched on this, and you did such an amazing job, but if you don't mind me asking, what made you want to write such a heavy story, especially since it's so personal, so it must be so hard to talk about?
What made us write this play? I think it was somehow cathartic and therapeutic to do so. I think it was more Manon and I's attempt to deal with our own emotions and to voice out these ideas and thoughts we had in our heads that somehow felt too much to be expressed on a daily conversation. We felt like there was a story to be told. We felt like there was a voice that we had to provide to these audiences. We thought there were more people out there that would relate to this, and that it would be a shame not to tell our story.
Once again, thank you so much for telling this story, and thank you for talking about it with me. I can't wait to be in the audience of one of these performances because I really, really would love to see the Blue Hour in person. So speaking of original work, I recently listened to your original song, One More Day.
But now that I sail on my own, I am so far from home, and I'm all alone.
Is that for another show, or is that a personal song, maybe an upcoming album?
The song One More Day, just I wrote it when I went back home for Christmas. I sort of had this cultural shock, I guess, because the home that I left isn't exactly the home I got back to, in good and bad ways. But I think it was more that feeling that my old world has left me behind. So it was written just as a personal project, as I just felt like I needed to voice out my poems about the subject.
Can we expect more original songs from you in the future?
I would love to integrate more acting with music. I haven't yet started writing a musical or plays with music, even though we are considering that for the Blue Hour. I have written another song though, called It's Him They Greet. And you can stay tuned and have a look at it on my YouTube channel soon.
I will definitely stay tuned for that, and all of you should stay tuned for that as well. I will be linking her YouTube in the description, so be sure to keep up with that. Speaking of singing, I have all these segues. You're a part of a very famous a cappella group in Oxford University called In the Pink. What was your favorite memory with them?
In the Pink was one of the best times of my life, honestly. It was competitive a cappella, so yes, our lives were literally pitch perfect. We competed in Voice Festival UK, we were finalists, and then we took our show, Fantastic Beats and Where to Find Them, you know the pun, and we took it to Edinburgh Fringe. Edinburgh Fringe is the best experience you'll ever have. It's amazing. There's a ton of performers, there's a ton of shows and concerts you can go to. As a performer, you get to perform not only in your theater but also on the Mile. On the Mile is basically this long street in Edinburgh where there's pop-up stages, and you can go up and perform, I don't know, 5 minutes of your show so that you get people to come and see it. And you hand out flyers, and then at night there's all these events and gatherings where you can meet other performers from your specific area of work or like anything else. We met a lot of a cappella groups, and honestly it's great because one, you make a lot of connections, but also it really shapes you as a performer because you have to be active during the day promoting your show, but also be on top of your game at night to perform. So I would recommend anyone. It's great. You see a lot of new material and it's amazing. We're actually thinking of taking the Blue Hour there eventually, but first we're trying to put it up in New York as a premiere, but it is something that is on our minds.
What was your favorite song that you performed with In the Pink?
I think my favorite song within the Pink was I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. We did that for Edinburgh Fringe. And it was really funny because we made this sort of pantomime choreo between a stalker and a stalked person. And we used someone from the audience every night, a different person that was sitting on a specific chair. So it became very funny. It was a very fun number. but I think the reason why I love it is because every night we started having a different admirer. People that were chosen after each show would come back and gift us with something. It had never happened to us before. We had this huge fan group all of a sudden. So I remember I got a Scottish Terrier pin. Some people gave us shortbread. We got a bottle of rosé because in the pink, you know. So it was amazing because we never thought. The choreo was pretty amazing. It was kind of slow motion, and the song is great. I mean, Aerosmith, you can't go wrong. But it was honestly just very interesting to see such a good audience reaction to that particular song.
I Don't Want to Miss a Thing is such a beautiful song, so thinking about it like a stalker singing it is the funniest thing ever. I'm not surprised you guys got so many gifts after that. That's so creative and so funny. I'm so happy that so many people enjoyed it. Oh, I would love to see that. Anyways, what advice would you give to performers and entertainers that are just starting out?
I'd probably say what my mom once said to me, which was, you might not be the prettiest, you might not be the thinnest, you might not be the most talented, you might not be the richest, but you can be the hardest working person in the room. And I really relate to that, because she used to say, the moment you stop working hard, that's the moment that people will jump ahead of you. And that always really stuck with me, because I think the more effort you put into something, the more likely you get to have a good outcome. And I think sometimes we sabotage ourselves by thinking we don't have enough opportunities, we don't have enough chances, no one will be able to help us. But once you put a certain energy into the universe, trust me, things will align and things will happen. I like to tell this story because I actually didn't have a movie theater in my hometown for many years growing up. It wasn't a thing. It actually opened 2 years ago, and we're a district capital, so it's not common. And I think I never thought I'd be living in New York by now. I never thought I would have lived in Oxford. I never thought I'd leave my country at only 17 years old. So things do happen, and just keep working as hard as you can to make them happen. Trust me, if you work hard enough, it'll happen. Just, you gotta believe in yourself more than anything.
Where can people who want to keep up with your career find you?
Well, people can follow my career on my website, which is miaventuralucas.com. My Instagram is Mia V Lucas. I post about my play and my shows there as well. And I do have a Facebook performance page, which is Mia Ventura Lucas. So please follow up. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or reach out. I will be posting soon about our play. We have a teaser coming up that we're currently editing, and there's a lot of exciting news coming up, so please stay in touch.
Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All of Mia's links in the description. I am so excited that I get to showcase such amazing talent on my channel. I hope everyone watching has an amazing day. Bye!